Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today, bankrupt once again by Jake and Fluff.
What's going on, yo?
What's happening, beautiful people?
And today we have Nufu taking on Gogeta. It's a timeless battle. If you watch Heroes, I think at one point this happens. There's buttons, links, check them out. Let's get into this. Take it away, guys.
This is kind of a rematch for me. The prior week, Jimmy was on Fu, and Jimmy and I played in the finals, and I got wrecked by Fu. I just was not ready for what Fu is prepared to do. So I felt better going into this match because I knew what the cards did. I knew how the deck liked to perform, and I just felt like there were plays that I made against Jimmy that were suboptimal that I could correct this time around.
And I will say with that, sounding like an advantage, Jake, you have not played against Gogeta yet, have you?
No.
This is kind of your first kind of like toe-to-toe experience with it.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty powerful deck. It's got some pain points, like it actually has to find its pieces in order to fuse, but the leader in theory should help accomplish that. But it's not like a giant stinker of a deck, that's like not even fun to play against. But it's really got some powerful stuff, and if you don't really know what you're getting into beforehand, you can make a lot of pretty avoidable mistakes, which I do a lot of in this game. But I think a lot of that is just Fu has a lot of like little tiny mechanical things that you could do, like putting the right card in the right place at the right time. And if you're too focused on like trying to read your opponent's cards and like figure out what they're doing, you can like miss little micro things like that. And I think that I've kind of already started doing that in this game. If you played Fu and you're familiar with it,
You'll notice that one of the things that I'm kind of resolving myself to, in an effort to become a better player, is when my opponent puts a card into a public area and I don't know what that card is, I'm just taking a few seconds to familiarize myself with the card so I'm not caught off by surprise. I think that is something that everyone should try to kind of get in the habit of doing. Be very polite about it. Hey, can I read that card? Ask your opponent permission to touch their cards. Don't just reach over and grab them. But one of the tricks to this matchup is, for me specifically, is the first 3 turns are very rocky, depending on how aggressive Jake decides to get.
yeah. And looking back, I didn't really need to get this aggressive this early, but I kind of wanted to get some of my engines online and kind of in my mind, I'm trying to like punish him for taking a small turn one here, like not really doing much, just charge and pass. And I kind of want to like press a little bit of a lead. But looking back, like I don't even really think it's necessary for me to do here. Like I don't care that much if we play a long game.
I would say the idea of go in this case Goku right now not needing to swing to get a draw. I felt like as a turn one player that kind of set you back a little bit because you couldn't just combo a card off early. You had to you had to use resources more than you wanted to. It felt like.
Right. Right. And that's the kind of like the trap I fell into, right? Because what I'm seeing now is I didn't have to do that. Like, there's no reason for me to be that aggressive this early. And if you could hear the audio from this game right now, I think I'm actively like cursing because you see this Gohan in my energy. I could have kept that in my hand, and when I overlorded, like if that was my plan, I could have got a free 15k blocker as well. So like there's a lot of little micro things that you can miss out on, but not to take away from Fluff's good strategy there of just not doing anything that he didn't have to.
That's one of the problems with this deck is there's one turn one play and it's not that good. On turn two, I think you have like an additional play that you can make, but again, it's not that good. Your plays don't start really opening up until turn 3. So the best thing to do is just kind of manage your resources, let your opponent do what they're going to do, try to get a feel for what your opponent's deck is trying to do and the way that your opponent is trying to play it without giving them too much advantage. And I really didn't want to swing and put the Fu player down to 5 life there because I knew that was going to enable him to awaken on his turn 3, which really makes a difference in this matchup. But I wanted the resource on the draw. I didn't take the life there because Jake is going to do that for me during this turn.
Yeah, he doesn't really have to. He's already on his backside. You know, he doesn't. I think you have to be at 3 to Z Awaken, right?
Yeah.
So you don't really. You'll get that card eventually, barring a crit. And even if you do get crit, you're trying to get to 3 anyway, so you don't really care that much, barring it being something super important to your game plan.
I was happy to see that you swung with your leader first. So I was able to put you under Nimbus. The struggle here is figuring out what to discard for Nimbus because all the yellow cards in my hand I want to keep because I believe that they're going to be valuable at some point in this match.
Yeah. And Fluff spoke earlier about like learning lessons from his earlier games with Fu. The more reserved and like defensive way he's playing the game is really kind of putting me in awkward positions where I have to take, well, I feel like I have to take bad lines just to get something going. But like I'm saying before, what I'm learning from watching this game back is like I don't really have to do any of this. Like there's no reason that Fu can't go to just as long of a game as Gogeta can. Like just because they get more energy value doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna lose in a like 5 or 6 turn game. So like there's not really much of a need for me to push here in the way that I'm doing.
One of the big punishes in this matchup for the Gogeta player, I have 3 Vekuzama energy. I just noticed that. Um, one of the big punishes in this matchup is petrification. So I have to be very careful about that. You purposely left 1 energy open. So petrification is at the forefront of my mind. So I'm going to attempt to sequence this turn to minimize petrification's impact. And you'll see I was lucky enough to get that leader swing through because I needed that second Z energy to be able to Z awaken. So I'm going to use the activate main here on the leader, get rid of your Fu Z battle card. Then I'm going to Z awaken, and then I'm going to Union Fusion, maximizing the resources and removal on my turn. But the trade-off here is after I Union Fusion, if I swing, I walk into a petrification, have 0 ability to restand my energy, and Jake kills me. So I have to make the concerted decision here to just Union Fusion and pass, which is not something that I like doing. I would have rather tried to get the swing out, use the leader's activate battle effect and restand 2 energy and have 2 energy up defensively. But I had to just do this. Otherwise, I lose to petrification.
100% the right call.
Jake had been asking very directed questions about what happens with this secret rare when you activate Aegis, and how it restands itself. We didn't actually go over the full spectrum of this card's effects and protection directly, and you'll see that comes up and is an important factor in this matchup.
Yeah, it just goes back to like what we were talking about earlier, where If you're not familiar with something, you just need to pick it up and read it. I knew this card had a ton of effects, but it's the one that you forget about that'll get you. And I'm gonna spend a lot of effort this turn attempting to remove this card, which, if you know anything about it, is not a smart line of play.
Here I'm activating the Aegis, which you get to discard a card from your opponent's hand. That triggers the 2 energy restand. The secret rare restands, and then you get to tap 1 card on your opponent's side. So it's a ton of value for resolving Aegis. I'm able to reduce the amount of energy that Jake has overall to push with his turn. But I know that he's going to be able to load a Cumber under the Foo, free play a Cumber. He's probably going to spend 1 energy, put out another Cumber or another Foo, and attempt to punish that way. So I know there's still a little bit of pressure coming down the pipe, but I feel I'm in a good spot defensively for it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the line I take, and I spend all of my energy here getting extra cards into my Z deck, which, had I been playing correctly earlier in the game, I wouldn't have had to do. I could have ended this turn even with you tapping an energy with 1 more energy up.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I can't warp your secret rare here. There's not really a massive point in me swinging other than trying to force the blocks out. This is an auto, so I'm just gonna go ahead and threaten double strike, force you to block, and try and get some kind of pressure around your secret here.
Yeah. And then you have the option of comboing up. I think that Cumber's 25,000.
Yeah.
So you have to invest 15K combo into hitting the number on that secret rare, which is just a huge investment on your end.
And at this point, you're at a hand advantage anyway.
Yeah. I think I'm at 11 cards in hand. We were jokingly like, oh, it's 15 cards. I'm like, it'll be 15 cards at the end of next turn.
Yeah.
I love the inclusion of that Bardock in this deck. Just play it, draw 2, warp 1. It's a 20K threat that has to come down. It's going to force a card out of my hand unless I want to take the damage.
Yeah, I was trying some other Overrealm options earlier, but nothing really seemed as powerful as extending your turn for free and then getting a cheeky little 20K swing.
Yeah.
And the Overrealm requirement on it is really light too. It's just 4 cards.
Just 4 cards, yeah. Which is super easy to accomplish. So you're tapped out here. I don't have to worry about petrification this turn, so I'm going to be able to go for my power plays. So we're going to put out the big boy 8-drop. He does have protection until the end of your turn. I get to draw 2, and then plus I'm using Union Fusion, so I get to activate the leader's effect, which is a piece of removal. So I'm going to remove that big threatening Cumber. I don't know if you have a way to reload the Cumber underneath him. Specifically, but I didn't want to run that chance just in case the game goes past this turn. And I get greedy on this turn. Gogeta suffers from, there are points in Gogeta's turns where if your opponent negates an attack, it makes all the difference in how you sequence your turns. And I don't know if Jake has any negates in his hand or not, but he takes the 2 damage on this. And so I'm like, okay, he doesn't have a negate, so I'm free to kind of get greedy here. So we'll swing, we'll activate battle on the leader, which will restand 2 energy, and then both of my Gogetas will restand and tap 2 cards on his side of the field.
Yeah, just not a lot I can do. In response here, truth be told, I do have a petrification, but unfortunately, during my turn, I wasn't accounting for having one of my energy tapped down, so I ended up ending the turn with nothing up, and I don't really have a lot of good options to defend myself. Everything on the board here is huge. Hand sizes on both sides of the table are decent, but just the discrepancy in battle power and everything is crazy right now.
Yeah. I don't want to commit to dumping my hand out. I'm afraid there's some battle trick. Um, which is what happened with in the game with Jimmy was I overcommitted my hand at a point in the game, and I just got that battle trick that you just did, where you got rid of Foo's Laboratory, played a Cumber, changed the attack to the Cumber. So had I comboed out my entire hand there, I could have thrown the match.
And that was really my only hope was that you made that misplay. But like you said, you've played this match before and took some care into studying what the deck could do.
What secret rare are you running by chance? Are you running the new Cumber?
No, I just have Pan. I don't have the new one yet.
Oh, okay. I was really afraid of that new Cumber coming down. That card is such a pain in the ass to get rid of.
Yeah, it's a good equalizer in this matchup because it's hard for you to remove, and then I just end up not taking damage from your big huge guys, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't own the card yet, and it's pretty cheap. I'll probably buy it eventually and try it out.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
dropped
Pan's
dramatically.
Yeah, Pan's working for me pretty well right now.
And with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Keep in mind his buttons, links, check them out, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.